Hi, welcome to ISE Videos. Do you not think? They're the words I want to look at today. And in order to do so, I want to look at the life and times of Jesus Christ. When you read the Gospels, you'll read that he went about doing good. And at no time do you ever read that he took glory for himself. Now, for us, he was the main man. He had all the power. He had all the knowledge. He had all the grace, the love. And, he was the one that did all the miracles. He raised the dead. He cleansed the lepers, made the blind see, and made the deaf hear and the mute speak. He was the complete human being. But you'll notice in the Gospels that never once did he ever say to the disciples or anybody listening, "Look at me. Look at the power that my Father has given me." He never took glory for himself. He could have done, but he never did. He always pointed people back to God. He always pointed them back to the one who truly was in charge. And you'll notice if you read what things that he said, and he always said one of two things: I come to do the will of the one who sent me, or I come to do the will of my Father. He never said, I've got my own agenda. He always said, I come to do the will of my Father, the one who sent me. He pointed people back to God. And today it's my great pleasure to point people back to Jesus Christ through these videos. Now, on the cross, Jesus said a number of things, but the three words that I want to look at very briefly are, it is finished. So what is it? What does that mean? What's the it that he referred to? Now, there's a number of things that it means, and I'm no theologian. I'm not going to get into a deep discussion, but on a very simple level, it's this. The it he was referring to was obviously the ministry that he'd been given, the 3.5 years that he ministered. And he said that job is finished. But the it on a wider scale was from creation up to the point that he dies on the cross. And then from the time of his resurrection until the end of the world, that's us, that's me and you today. He brought all of it together, the past and the future, the whole of life. He was saying it is finished. The it he was referring to was his death on the cross was the ultimate piece in the jigsaw. It meant that everything was completed. By his death on the cross, it meant that you and I and the people in the past could have a relationship with God, and we were brought back to God as we originally were in the Garden of Eden. That's what he meant. But you notice he pointed people back to God the Father. He always said, what you see me do, I do it because I see my Father doing it. So what he's saying is that God is greater than he was. So who is God? You know, God is the one that endowed his Son with all the power. So God is the one that, if you read the account, if you read your whole Bible, it says of God that, he put this world in place. He throws the stars into the heavens, and he knows them all by name. But he also created you and I, and he knows you by name. Now, if the God that I'm telling you about is that awesome, do you not think that if God can create all of this, if he can throw the stars into heaven, and if he can put this earth on its axis, if he can create everything, do you not think that he can do for you what he says he can do? Do you not think that he can sort your life out? Do you not think that he knows who you are? You see, if you read in the book of Jeremiah 29 verse 11, now God was speaking to the prophet Jeremiah. Now they were in captivity in Babylon. Just very briefly, he said to Jeremiah, say this to the people. And obviously it was written down as well, but he said, say this. And obviously there's a lot more to this, but the bit I want to focus on, he said, say this to the people, I know the plans that I have for you, for good and not for evil, to give you a future and a hope. And as Christians, we take those words today and we think to ourselves, we get excited and we think, great, God has a plan. But unfortunately, we also get very despondent because time is a factor. And unfortunately, I can't speak for anybody else, but for myself, you can identify with me if you want. But for myself, life has a way of happening. And be honest with yourself, be honest here. We tend to, or I tend to, hope that life turns out how I want it to. And that what God's going to do in the way I hope He's going to do it for me. But unfortunately, I've not fully understood those words. I know the plans that I have for you. God knows those plans, but He never says those plans are the way you think. He also says, my thoughts are not your thoughts, and my ways are higher than your ways. God knows and far more than I ever will, and His way of doing things is way above what I could expect. But when you look at God and you think how awesome He is and how much power He has got, and when you look at yourself and think, well, this God, does He love me? Well, if He can give you the absolute best of what He's got, and that was Jesus Christ, and He sent Him to earth to take your sins and my sins on His shoulder, to die in your place, so that you can be brought back into a relationship with Him like we were originally in the Garden of Eden. If God is prepared to do that for you, well, how much more do you think He loves you? And if He can put this world into place, if He knows all the stars in the heavens by name, if He can do all these things in creation, if you look at this world today and you think to yourself, He holds it in the palm of His hand, well, do you not think that He knows who you are? Do you not think He knows where you are? And do you not think He knows all about you? It is said of God that when you look at yourself, God Himself has planted gifts and talents in you. Do you not think for 1 minute that if God has planted all these gifts and talents in you, do you not think He actually knows where they are? And do you not think that He knows how to bring them out? Do you also not think for a minute that He knows the best way in which to deal with those gifts and talents? And like I said to you before, life is not going to come at you the way you think it should, packaged the way you think it should be. Those gifts and talents that God has got for you, they're used in ways that He knows best. Doing these videos was something I never thought that I'd do, but here I am today, uplifting and encouraging people. So, Jesus and God, believe it or not, have been through every stage of your life. They know exactly who you are, where you are, what you're doing. They also know who you're going to meet, when you're going to meet them. Now, what this person that you meet, what they're going to bring to you, or what they're going to take away from you. He will also bring you towards them, or He'll take you away from them. Either way, God will do for you what you can't do for yourself. And very, very quickly, if you look at the beginning of the Bible, you'll see Abraham. And God said to him at 75, look up into the sky. He said, can you count the stars? He said, that's how many descendants you will have. Now, Abraham was 75, and his wife was in her 60s, and they had no children. Now, when he was 99/100, and his wife turned 90, when it was humanly impossible to have children, Isaac came along. And Sarah, his wife, gave birth. Through them, and through Isaac, the children of Israel are now, and the descendants are like God said. But unfortunately, Abraham and his wife Sarah tried to make what God said would happen in a different way, because time, 25 years passed before what God said came to be. So you see, God will sometimes keep you waiting. He wants to just show you that it's done in His time and in His way. God is saying that I know the plans I have for you, and you have to understand, and you have to, I'm sorry, but you have to accept they're His plans, not yours. They're for your best. God loves you that much. He wants the best for you, but unfortunately, and I'm sorry to say this, and I found out the hard way, and I'm no doubt you have, that those plans come in ways and means that you wouldn't even think of. Sometimes they're really weird, and they come through people you might not even like, in places that you really didn't want to go to, but you ended up there and found out it's where you really need to be. And sometimes they come in extraordinary ways where it's way beyond your dreams of what you ever thought you'd be doing. But like I say, I want to encourage you and lift you up. Do you not think, and I want to bring this to a close, do you not think that if the God that I've told you about, if He's that good, do you not think that if He knows who you are, where you are, if He knows the gifts and the talents that He's planted in you, do you not think that He's going to find the best way to bring them out? Do you not think that He loves you that much? If He can send Jesus to die for you on the cross, does that not prove how much He loves you? And do you not think that He wants the best life for you? The way to go about it is, as always, take a step back, put your life into His hands. That is the only way. And I'm sorry to say, it will cost you in time. You have to wait, and your life will take a different turn, and what the plans that God has will come in ways that you could never understand, through people you never expected to meet. But they are God's plans. They're His plans, and they'll come in His time. So I hope that's encouraged you today. I hope that's uplifted you. You know, do you not think that God knows what He's doing? Take Him at His word. God never, ever, ever jokes at His word. His word in the Bible is true. He never jokes at all about His word. And His word says He knows what He's talking about, and He loves you very, very much. So I hope that's encouraged you and lifted you up today. Keep watching these videos, and I'll see you soon. Goodbye now.